So we're going to start with a very brief soma scan, lying down. If you let your legs stretch out and that does not feel good straight away for your back, by all means bring your feet to the floor. And know that is where you're starting out from. But I'm able to slide my legs straight. And I'm just going to take a pause. Just a general sense of, can my body relax comfortably on the floor? I'm noticing the longer that I lie here, the more information I'll get. And we're starting to tune into our proprioceptive self, sensing our body in space. How does it take up its space? And I can begin to sense where my heels and how my heels make contact with the floor, the direction of my toes, each foot. Where is the weight landing in the back of my calf muscles? The direction of each knee. So all these details might give you clues as to how your brain is holding your muscles tight. It's your brain that's in control of your muscles. And I can feel the way that my buttocks and pelvis make contact with the floor. This evening I'm a little bit heavier through the left side. And I can sense there's a bit more of an arch. If I bring my hands into my lower back, I can feel that the right side of my back's a little bit further off the floor. My right hand slides easily underneath the right side of my back. And sensing the way my shoulders make contact with the floor. Feeling the way each arm makes contact with the floor. Whereabouts am I resting on each arm? And noticing whereabouts on the back of my head is the weight falling. So just taking that in for a moment here. Then I'm going to bring my feet to the floor, just gently sliding my heels up, not too close towards my buttocks, not too far away. Just finding what feels comfortable. And we're going to do a combination of an arching movement to release the muscles of the lower back, and what we call it a hip hiking movement to release the oblique muscles, the muscles in the waist. So you can bring your hands to your belly if you wish. I'm going to have my hands by my side so that you can see. And just inhale, nice relaxed belly. Inhale, rolling down towards the tailbone. And just feeling the lower back's going to arch further off the floor, purposefully contracting the lower back muscles. This is pandiculation. And then I'm going to slowly release out. So as you release, you're really sensing what you're doing in your back. Feeling the back muscles release. Really give them a chance to release. And even if you think you've finished the movement, take some extra breaths here to really let your back muscles go. So remember, when we pandiculate, we're not forcing, and we're not trying to move into a stretch. We're not trying to move beyond our comfort zone. just staying within a comfortable range of movement without cheating ourselves from exploring the potential range that we could have. Pain-free though, or as pain-free as you can possibly make it. So don't increase your pain if you are beginning in pain. And then we're going to do that again. We're going to add another movement here. So I'm going to inhale and arch. And I'm just going to bring my hands into my waist, keeping breathing, and then I'm going to slide the swiveling on my pelvis, turning the left side of my pelvis up, as if I'm trying to bring the lower rib down to meet the pelvis. So we call these hip hikes. I'm hiking my left hip up, and I'm sensing I've consciously contracted the left waist muscles here. Just holding that for a moment, the right waist muscles will have lengthened, and I'm going to slowly release out. Remember, the releasing phase is the most important phase. It makes the changes when we pandiculate. And then I'm going to release this arch in my back now. Taking a resting breath here. And again, inhaling and arching. And keep breathing here, just nice and easy as you swivel the left side of your pelvis up towards the direction of the ribs, towards the direction of the armpit. You might even notice how your head turns a little bit to the same side. Feeling this tension that I've consciously created here. I'm going to keep breathing gently as I feel that release. Nothing's forced. I'm not trying to stretch, just to lengthen out those contracted muscles. And now I'm going to release my back. I can feel as I relax my back how my head moved in response to that too. So inhaling as I roll down towards my tailbone. I'm not forcing this, and what I want, relaxed belly so my back muscles can contract effectively. And then hiking on that left side again, staying with that side, so our brain really gets the idea of what we're trying to do here. Tighten these muscles consciously, even feeling it in the ribs. And then breathe as I need to release that, really feeling what I'm doing. And then relaxing the arch in my back. So addressing two reflex patterns here, the green light reflex and the trauma reflex. And just sliding my legs straight for a moment to feel and notice any difference between the two sides now. Feeling a lot more relaxed and lengthened through this left side. You even feel that my breath is a little bit more open through my ribs. And then I'm going to bring the feet to the floor. Do that to the right side. So you can't see my right side, it's out of view, but just notice what happens to my left side when I hike my right hip. So again, I'm going to breathe in and arch. And I'm going to swivel, hiking that right hip up. And it feels easier for me to do it on this side. And more awareness, more control on this side, because I tend to hike this right hip in the way that I sit. So I'm releasing the hip hike, not pulling, not forcing, feeling that lengthening out of the waist muscles and relaxing my back. Really giving time to integrate that movement. Inhaling and arching, feeling how my head rolls in the same direction as my pelvis. Sensing that all the way up my spine, imagining this extension in my spine here, and then I'm going to hike the hip, which really targets also some muscles in the lower back called the quadratus lumborum. Attaches the lowest ribs in the back to the back of the pelvis. Sensing this, feeling that tension. Now I'm going to let it go. First with the hip hike, and then with the arch. And then inhaling and arching. Hiking the right hip, and the left side of the pelvis lengthens, but I'm not forcing this long. Just allowing the two sides of the body, left and right, to coordinate together. Not going for a stretch through this left side. I want my brain to feel this contraction first in the right side, in the right waist. It's exaggerated the tension in the right side of the lower back. And then I'm going to release. The hip hike, and then release my back. And again, just sliding my legs along, just to take in those changes, another moment to integrate. Bringing the feet back to the floor, I'm going to help release the lower back more. Release it out more with some flattening. So I'm going to just start to move gently my lower back into the mat now. And do that with an exhale. And that will contract the abdominal muscles, and that's what I want to do. Addressing some red light reflex here, and helping to lengthen out the back muscles at the same time. And then breathing in, I'm going to melt this tension out through the belly. Nice controlled movements. And pausing here. Taking a breath in to really let the belly relax. Breathing out, drawing my lower back to the floor. Feeling how the ribs slide down towards the pelvis. And my head naturally rolls back. Same direction that my pubic bone is chasing my chin. Again, no forcing. And I'm sliding out. And I'm trying to keep my back muscles quiet here. So all of the focus, my brain is just feeling these abdominal muscles release. And again, breath in. Drawing the lower back to the floor, which is going to contract the abdominal muscles. But I want to really feel my back muscles lengthening out here. Not stretching, lengthening out. Curling my pubic bone through, my tailbone through my legs as my pubic bone curls upwards. And slowly release. Feeling what I'm doing, being in control of my movements. I'm just waiting to feel how my body responds to that movement. Giving it a chance to integrate those panticulations, and now I'm going to bring my legs down again, just a brief revisit. there can still be adjustments when you're still and quiet. But you may still feel things just resettling, readjusting. And then I'll come on to my front for a variation of the back lift. So I'm going to have my right arm down by my side, my head turned to the left, and I'm looking at my left hand. And to, again, access these back muscles, I'm going to take a breath in, nice relaxed belly, lifting my head, not pushing into my hand. And I can feel as I lift my head, my pelvis rolls forwards, my hip bones press into the mat. I'm not trying to press my pubic bone into the mat, my hip bones, because I want to feel this contraction in my lower back. But I'm not forcing anything. And then I'm going to slowly let that go. And relax there. And I'm going to try that again by tilting my pelvis forwards into the mat. Breathing in, nice soft belly. Because if I tighten my belly, it's going to create a co-contraction, and it's going to limit the ease in which I lift. And I can try and look a little bit further over my left shoulder if I wish. And I can feel my right leg, my right buttock getting tighter. My head's turned to the left. So we're sensing this diagonal pattern of contraction from the left side of my neck and shoulder all the way down my right leg, letting everything relax here. Deep breath in and out. And now I'm going to just lift my right leg, doing it in slow motion so I can feel it start to rotate. And then lift. Doesn't have to go too far. And I'm feeling my right glute contract, hamstrings, calf muscles, even the sole of my foot. Feeling the right side of my back tighten. Notice my left side of my neck tighten too. So we contract as a system, as a pattern. We move as a system, as a pattern. Letting all of that go. And then trying that again. See if I can control it by contracting the glute to help lift the leg. And I can feel how my head wants to get involved. So I'm going to lift up too. Just pausing at the top long enough to sense the contraction across my back. And then slowly release. Deep breath in and out. And then I'm going to turn my head. This is a variation of the back lift. Left arm down, head turned to look at my right hand. Tipping the pelvis in towards the mat. Lifting my head up as I breathe in. And really feeling this release. This is such a good movement for your back. Releasing your back muscles, relaxing them, and helping them, because you're moving up into gravity, helping them strengthen. Trying that again. Coordinating the tipping forwards of my pelvis as I lift up my head. And slowly feeling that contraction. So remember, pandiculation, conscious contraction, slow focused release. pausing at the end to relax and integrate everything. And then with my left leg, I'm going to just slide it, reach it down the mat, slide it long without force, and then I'll notice it starts to lift. It contracts the glute, the hamstrings. Feeling that, I can feel that in the left side of my back as well. And I'm going to lower the leg down, really feel that's a smooth movement. Trying that again. Reaching the leg long. I could breathe in as I lifted the leg. Could explore that. And inhaling, lifting my head. And just sensing this tension in the back. Making a conscious contraction in the back. And then slowly lower. So it should feel pleasurable, but it might feel challenging, but no pain or increase in pain. Pausing here. If you feel pain, then go slower, go smaller, do less. And just bringing both hands underneath my forehead. I'm just going to take a gentle roll of my pelvis from side to side. I feel that I could even release a little bit further down onto the floor now because my spine has literally lengthened. And then from here, I'm going to come back onto my back. I'm going to have my feet on the floor. And I'm just going to feel what arch and flatten now feels like in response to the back lift. And breathe in. And that just feels smoother and easier to rotate my pelvis forwards. And let that go. And then exhale, still feeling what I'm doing, still aware. And then exhaling, gently pressing my back into the floor. And let my head tip back and even let my shoulders lift up. Almost ragdoll-esque. Just to feel this tension I'm creating through the front consciously. And then letting that go. Inhaling, arching, head's rolling in the same direction as my pelvis. I'm feeling this arch feels much more equal through each side of my back now, and then slowly releasing. So I've done a lot of addressing the green light reflex today. And then exhaling into a flatten. Sliding out with awareness. And I'm just going to bring my arms slightly further away. And I'm going to move into a twist. Focusing on the pelvis, allowing, feeling that bowl shape of my pelvis, just gently rolling over the back of my pelvis. Just explore that. breathe and feel as you do this. Does it feel easier to roll the pelvis one way compared to the other? Noticing that relationship. If my pelvis goes one way, which way does my head move? Does my head move? And I'm going to let my pelvis go to the right. Noticing my head wants to go to the left. And if I really force this, what happens is my back actually starts to contract and arch. And I want my back to lengthen in this twist. So I'm going to actually back up with my pelvis. So I'm doing some repeated pandiculations here. So as I come up, I can feel my waist, feel my abdominals, feeling my back muscles tighten, and then I'm going to release. Just gently, not forcing. And then I'm going to come up again. I'm not using my feet here. They're responding to how the centre of my body, the contraction through the centre of my body. Coming almost up to the top of the movement, and then I'm going to breathe in and let that go. Noticing if my pelvis, my knees can go a little bit further over, whilst maintaining a nice relaxed long back. So I'm coming into a rotation more rather than extension. And I'm going to come up one more time, rolling my pelvis back to the floor, almost up to the top, and changing my mind, so pandiculating and then lengthening and releasing. Head rolling to the opposite side, opposite direction to my pelvis and knees. And I'll roll up. And just because I'm curious, I'm actually going to slide my legs straight, just to notice if there is a difference in the sensation, the length of in the left side of my body. I can almost feel that my right leg feels shorter than the other. So bringing my feet back to the floor. And pelvis is now going to go to the left. Just feeling for where, without forcing this movement, where does my brain stop the movement? My head naturally rolls to the right, but does your head roll to the right? Does your head move at all? So I'm not trying to force my knees over. But I think I could get a bit more release out through pandiculation. So I'm going to come up, rolling my pelvis up to almost up to the top. And then just feeling the muscles that are involved in that movement. And then I'm going to slowly release over again. Just breathing, letting the belly go, letting the head turn. Noticing if my back still feels comfortable, long and relaxed. And then coming back up. And over. Just a gentle twist and a variation on how we pandiculate in somatics. And then rolling the pelvis back. And then we can integrate that into opposite directions. Again, I'm not cheating myself out of movement, but I'm not forcing it either. So it's a fine balance. Just noticing that relationship between pelvis and head, and feeling the spine in between. And you can change up the breath. You can exhale as the pelvis and knees go over. Inhaling up. Then you could pause to exhale and then inhale as the pelvis and knees go in one direction and your head goes the other. There might be an instinctive way for you to breathe here. But try, just notice what it feels like to change things up. And then I'm going to come up, pausing for a moment with my knees up. Sensing the floor through the back of my pelvis. And sliding my legs straight. Just finishing in my soma scan. So I feel like there's much more of me in contact with the floor. My breath feels easier, my belly's more relaxed, my back is more relaxed. I'm more balanced across my pelvis. And taking just a few quiet moments here to integrate. Feeling the floor, feeling my breath. And then I'm going to transition up onto my feet to feel and notice and integrate again all of the changes that have occurred from this practice. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know the differences that you may feel. Thank you for joining me.